Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel after 3 or 4 months. I'm not very consistent here or anywhere else, but anyways, you can already judge by the title that today we are talking about Shadow and Bone. So today is the 16th, the second season came out. I loved the first season of the show. Like, I remember when it came out, like even the before it arrived to Netflix, one of my favorite YouTubers, Alex Myers, actually like had a deal with Netflix that he was going to watch and review the show, and I was already getting excited about the show because of his video, and then the show came out. It didn't 100% live up to my expectations, but it was a very good and fun show. And I love the Grishaverse. I think it's very imaginative, like the whole lore about Grisha, their powers. And I found it all very interesting, like the whole world that the author built. But I did feel like something was missing, or that something was just too much in the show. And I decided to actually read the books. And that was kind of a good thing, but it was also a bad thing because now I cannot for the life of me enjoy the show as I did the first time I saw it. Let me tell you why. So the books are, I don't know them by heart, so let's just read it. So the first 3 books I read were Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, Ruin and Rising. So in these 3 books, we're actually following the story of Alina, of how the Fold was created, about Kirigan, about the whole love between Alina and Mal. The 3 books actually, I think that the events of season 1 that surround Alina are very much the first book. Like, it's kind of taken from that material, and I expect that season 2 of the show is going to be mostly based on the second book, and that we will also get a third season where we're going to wrap the story up and destroy the Fold. Like, maybe they'll do it all now in the second season, I don't know, we'll see. I haven't watched it yet. As you can see, I'm not mentioning Inej, Kaz, and Jesper, so the crows, as well as Nina and Matthias, because actually those characters belong in a duology inside of the Grishaverse, which is the Six of Crows, which includes the book Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. Let me tell you something, like let me get into why me reading these books is a problem. So in the second, like in the duology where we have the crows, Nina and Matthias, the story is actually not related to the Fold, to the Darkling, or to Alina. Kaz never crosses paths with Alina and Mal. Like, that never happens. He never gets tasked with kidnapping Alina or anything like that. His job is actually to break a prisoner out of Ice Court. And that prisoner is important because he's a scientist. He developed a drug called Yurdaparem, which actually violently enhances the powers of Grisha, like they can fly all of the sudden and stuff like that. But it also is extremely addictive. It drives these Grisha insane, and if somebody manages to get a Grisha onto this thing, like, they could control them by controlling their doses, because the Grisha becomes an addict, and also having that insurmountable power at your disposal is a really big thing. So a lot of people want this scientist. So Kaz, Jesper, Inej, with the help of Nina and Matthias, are actually going to break that scientist out of Ice Court. The reason why Nina and Matthias are here is because Matthias is actually Fjerdan, and Ice Court is in Fjerda, so they need his help and expertise to break that scientist out. Also here we have Wylan, who is the son of the man who has hired Kaz to do this job. By the way, these are all spoilers for the book. I'm sorry if I haven't mentioned this before. One of the issues I have now with the show is that I don't want to watch a show where Alina Starkov and Mal Oretsev are the main characters. I want to watch a show where the crows are the main characters. Like, I don't understand why they had to be shoved into this show, why they couldn't have their own TV show just about them, because like the story of the duology is so interesting, it's so tense. You really You really get to feel how cunning and how smart Kaz is, and also like his conflicting feelings for Inej. Everything is portrayed so well. It's so interesting, and also the background and the characterization that the crows have, so the three of them, is so much better than how Alina and Mal are characterized and how their backgrounds are written. Like, that's, again, that's just my opinion. I'm not shitting on anybody. I like Alina and Mal, but I prefer the crows. What I do like in the show, and the reason why I can still, watch Kaz, Jesper, and Inej in these roles and enjoy them, is because the characters are really well cast, according to my opinion. One thing that's very different between the show and the books is the fact that in the books, they're teenagers. Like, I think that all of them are under 20, and this includes also Alina and Mal. Like, the characters are made to be older in the show. Kaz is played by Freddie Carter, who does an amazing job. Like, even when reading the book, you can portray Kaz in that way. I think that he's very good with like showing Kaz's mannerisms, how he behaves towards people and so on. But what I think happened at certain points in season 1, like, now I'm talking from the perspective of somebody who has read the books, I think that Kaz received some weaker writing in some parts. I think that in season 1, 1 or 2 episodes in, like, Pekka Rollins is physically beating Kaz. Like, it just doesn't work after you read the books. It does not work. And also the backstory about Kaz and why he hates Pekka Rollins and why he's trying to get his revenge, also why he can't touch people, is just so interesting. It's actually a story about how his brother died and how he actually came to Ketterdam and became who he is today. All of it amazing, and I think that the character brings the actor brings a certain charisma to Kaz. Like, it's just very well cast. I already watched a little bit of season 1, and I was kind of left shocked by the fact that it took them, I think, less than 10 minutes to mention the sea whip. Like, I understand that the sea whip is an important part of the story, but the thing is, I don't remember the amplifiers and Morozova being explained well in season 1. So I think that this is kind of a situation, if you hadn't read the books, you won't really understand what's going on. Like, I hope that the story, like the backstory of Morozova and the amplifiers, will be explained, because it's kind of important. I'm not going to say why, because I don't want to spoil that far in, but you know what, let's just watch the show and see what happens. Okay, let's talk immediately for a bit. Like, I've watched a few episodes, and I don't think I'm going to comment on Alina and Mal as much as I'm going to comment on the crows, because again, they're my favorite characters. I cannot help myself. So there's this, like, I realized that they kind of try to put them in the show, like write them in with different jobs. Like, they're not trying to kidnap the scientists, they're trying to kidnap Alina, they're not trying to like do this, they're trying to do that. Like, they're trying to write them into the show, but they use scenes from the duology while they're writing their story. I'm usually not very invested in love stories. Like, in books, I don't get all hyped up about it, but Kaz and Inej are a different thing. Like, I really enjoyed thoroughly investigating their love for each other, and how both of them are kind of too fucked up to admit it and to kind of be together. And there is this scene, but first we need to explain something about Kaz. I didn't think I was going to dive so deep into his story, but anyways, when Kaz came to Ketterdam, he came with his brother, and his brother was swindled by Pekka Rollins. This is why Kaz wants his revenge on Pekka. Then both Kaz and his brother got firepox. They were living in the street, and there was a disease that was going through Ketterdam, and both of them are presumed to be dead, like from the consequences of firepox, and both of them are put on like a boat for the dead, because there were so many bodies because of this plague that they just didn't have the space to bury it or to cremate it. So you know, he just like Kaz was alive, like he was mistaken for that. He was alive, and he ended up in this pile of dead bodies next to his brother, who did die unfortunately. And in order to swim to the shore, Kaz actually had to throw his brother's body into the sea, hold on to him while like trying to kind of use him as a raft. And just that feeling of, you know, bloated, diseased skin, kind of left a lot of trauma on him, and like the whole event was traumatic for him, and he cannot stand touching somebody. He actually has the nickname Dirty Hands because he's all like, there's no job he wouldn't take, and also he's always wearing black gloves because his hands are so stained with blood that he can't wash it off. Like, that's not true. He just cannot stand somebody touching him or any skin to skin contact because it gives him flashbacks of what happened with his brother. Like, it really paralyzes him, like even in the books. And this was adapted in the show as a different scene. He is kind of locked in with prisoners, and just everybody touching him makes him kind of faint because he just cannot stand it. And now we have this scene where Inej is injured and Kaz is talking with her, and she's kind of provoking him. She wants the truth about him and Pekka, all of this, and like her wounds are bleeding, and Kaz actually, like, maybe I'm a bit mistaken on the details, but in the books I think that he actually takes off his gloves, and really, like, that's a big thing for him, and he puts himself out there to kind of help heal Inej's wounds. And he kind of briefly pressed his lips against her neck, like they didn't kiss. And that was such a good scene. Like, I remember when I was reading it, I was just like gripping the size of pages, just wanting to read faster because it was so interesting, it was so good, and it's so shitty in the show. Like, why did they ruin this scene? It was such a good scene. I'm pissed. Okay, I can now talk about something that annoyed me in the books because it's included in the show, and I think that there probably won't be a third season, we'll see. But anyways, this is included now in the show. So Bagram, Mal and Alina are going to find Morozov's old house, to find his journals, to find the Firebird, and the Firebird is the third amplifier. So we have the Stag, the Sea Whip, and the Firebird. And the thing is, like in the book, in the third book, I believe, like Ruin and Rising or whatever, you actually learn that the third amplifier is not the bird, it's Mal. And it's the stupidest thing ever because the second I read it, I just knew that the author would not have the balls to kill him off. Because the book was supposed to end with Alina and Mal having a happy forever after, probably adopting a bunch of orphans, or in their case, taking care of Karamzin where they grew up. Like, that, we all knew the story was going there. And just then, like, learning that the third amplifier is Mal, and that actually the connection between him and Alina isn't love, it's destiny, because he was destined to find her. He's the third amplifier and she's the sun summoner. I mean, it's so stupid. I mean, I don't hate, but I don't enjoy stories like that have these fantastic elements and then the main protagonists are just supposed to find each other because it's destiny. This is why I much more enjoy the romance between Kaz and Inej, because it has some substance. Like, they love each other because they love each other, not because Mother Nature wanted it. So I found that whole story incredibly cheesy. I didn't like it. I would much more prefer that the actual Firebird, which actually exists in the books, like, it's a creature, it exists, they find it. I wish that that was the third amplifier and not Mal, because it kind of just ruins the little relationship you can get invested in between Mal and Alina. So it just, I don't like that part of the show or the books. From what I can see, up until like episode 8, I think that we will not have a third season of Shadow and Bone. I think it's ending now. Maybe just hear me out. Maybe somebody pitches the Six of Crows duology to Netflix and they make a show that revolves only around Kaz, Jasper, and Inej. You never know, maybe it happens. Maybe Netflix makes a good decision for a change. But yeah, so that's what's been happening. The series differs a lot from what happened in the book, and I understand that. Like, I think that together the first and the second season have 16 episodes, and there are practically 5 books that they are drawing information from and drawing material from. There's a lot of ground to cover. I have to say, season 2 isn't doing it for me. I don't know, is it because I've read the books and my expectations were really high, or I don't know. It just, I have to admit, I'm a little bit bored. Like, let's see the last episode and then we'll have some final opinions about it.
What do you want then? To die, buried under the weight of my own gold. Stay. Stay and get it out.
There's absolutely going to be a 3rd season. Like, they already set up everything. And when it comes to the crows, like, we have the Jurda Parem mentioned, they have that job to free that scientist, so that's probably going to be the 3rd season. But what I have a problem with is how Mal, Alina, and Inej ended this season. Like, Alina is a queen of Ravka and she's kind of still engaged to Nikolai, and Mal is cosplaying as Sturmhond, and Inej is on a ship with him instead of being in the Crow Club with Kaz. Like, what is happening? If we have a 3rd season where Inej is not part of the Crows, I'm going to kill myself. She was very essential to the plan of breaking that scientist out of Fjerda. So they need to do something, turn something around to bring her back. Like, you cannot have the Crows without her. It can be done. Overall, this last episode was kind of exciting. Like, the ending, it was interesting because it's completely the opposite of what happened in the books. Like, in the books, after the fold was destroyed and everything, Mal and Alina went back to Karamzin and they were in charge of the orphanage where they grew up. Also, I think that the ending for the Darkling was kind of different, because in the book I had this feeling that in the end Alina didn't hate him. She kind of pitied him. She had sympathy for him. Like, she was kind of sorry that he died. Like, she did not kind of have this sort of hate that she had at the end of season 2. The Darkling is dead. Rest assured, I will be watching season 3 just to watch the crows. I think that's it for me today, and it's really late and I should go to bed because I have to wake up tomorrow and work. So anyways, yeah, if you would like, down in the description below you can find the links to my blog and to my Instagram. You can subscribe, like, share, yada yada yada. Please leave your comments down in the comment section. Let me know what you think about season 2. Yeah, I'm going to sleep because my eyes are closing and I still need to do my skincare. Thank you all for watching. I hope you had a good time and I will see you in my next one.